defender of the realm. In a realm of eternal autumn, where leaves of gold and red fall from the trees, there lived a magnificent parrot named a Grim. He had feathers of emerald green and wings that could carry him through the skies with ease. A Grim was a proud bird, known to all creatures in the land as a defender of the realm. One day, while a Grim was flying high above the treetops, he noticed something strange in the sky. It was a group of alien ships hovering ominously over the land. A Grim knew that this was a threat to the safety of his home, and he knew he had to act fast. A Grim flew down to the ground and rallied the other creatures of the realm. They knew that they could not fight off the alien invasion alone, so they decided to band together and form a team of superheroes. The team consisted of a Grim the parrot, a wise old owl named Hoot, a brave fox named Finn, and a speedy rabbit named Thumper. Each of them had their own unique powers that would prove useful in the fight against the aliens. As the team prepared for battle, they realized that they needed a plan. The aliens were powerful and had advanced technology, so the team knew that they had to use their extraordinary powers and work together to defeat them. The battle was fierce, with lasers and explosions lighting up the sky. The team fought bravely, using their powers to protect humanity and save the world from destruction. A Grim flew circles around the alien ships, distracting them with his dazzling feathers, while Hoot used his wisdom to outsmart the alien leaders. Finn and Thumper worked together to create a diversion, leading the aliens away from the realm and into a trap. With their teamwork and bravery, the team was able to defeat the aliens and save the realm from destruction. The victory was sweet, but the team knew that they could not let their guard down. They continued to work together, protecting the realm from any threats that might come their way. A Grim was hailed as a hero, with all creatures of the realm looking up to him with admiration. He knew that he could not have done it alone, and he was grateful for the support of his fellow superheroes. From that day on, a Grim and his team of superheroes remained vigilant, always ready to defend their home from any threat that might come their way. They knew that they could count on each other, and that, together, they were unstoppable. And so, the realm of eternal autumn remained safe and peaceful, thanks to the bravery and teamwork of a Grim the parrot and his team of superheroes. The Brave Bear's Forest. Nelson the bear and Addison the squirrel were well known for their bravery and love of exploration. In a serene forest set between rolling hills and a glittering river, they spent their days on adventurous quests and unraveling the mysteries of the forest. One sunny morning, as the birds sang their sweet melodies and the leaves rustled with the whispers of the trees, Nelson and Addison sat by the river bank, contemplating their next adventure. Nelson, with his big paw, pointed to the majestic old oak tree on the opposite side of the river. Addison, have you ever wondered what lies beyond the old oak tree? It's thought that the woodland becomes enchanted there, with secrets waiting to be discovered. Addison's eyes twinkled with interest. I've heard stories, but I've never gone. Do you think we should look into it, Nelson? Nelson's heart soared with joy. Absolutely. Today marks the start of our most daring trip ever. The two buddies constructed a solid raft out of fallen branches and floated it down river. They negotiated the mild seas with Nelson's power and Addison's keen vision, getting closer to the famed. As they reached the other side, the woodland changed before their eyes. Vibrant colors swirled among the leaves, and the air was filled with a delicious, enticing aroma. The forest appeared to be alive with magic. Their first find was a gleaming waterfall falling into a pristine pool. It's a waterfall of wishes, Addison marveled. They say if you make a heartfelt wish here, it might come true. Nelson closed his eyes and wished for the well-being and safety of their forest home. Addison wished for a life full with extraordinary adventures. They continued their journey and came to a meadow carpeted in wildflowers. Butterflies of every color of the rainbow circled them, leading the way deeper into the woodland. The butterflies led the group to an ancient tree grove, the wise willow, a tree considered to have vast understanding. stood in the center. Its leaves rustled in the breeze, forming syllables. Dear travelers, the wise willow said, you seek answers, and I hold the forest's wisdom. Ask your questions, and I'll tell you what I know. Nelson questioned about the secrets of the forest, while Addison inquired about nature's harmony. The wise willow told children stories of balance and respect for all living things, emphasizing the need of protecting their beautiful habitat. As the sun began to set, Nelson and Addison thanked the wise willow and continued their adventure. They encountered a family of deer who shared their stories of the forest's history and the creatures who called it home. At last, they reached a clearing where the moon's gentle light illuminated a majestic tree adorned with fireflies. The celestial oak, Addison whispered. They say it holds the power to bring dreams to life. Nelson and Addison closed their eyes and made their final wishes. They wished for endless courage and kindness, for the strength to protect their forest and the wisdom to cherish every moment of their adventures. With their wishes made, the fireflies surrounded them, creating a breathtaking display of light and magic. The forest seemed to come alive, echoing their joy. As dawn broke, Nelson and Addison made their way back to their side of the river. The forest had shared its enchanting secrets, and their hearts were filled with newfound wisdom and courage. Their friends gathered by the riverbank, eager to hear their tales. Nelson and Addison shared the magic of the enchanted forest, inspiring others to appreciate the beauty of nature, protect their home, and embark on their own adventures. From that day forward, the forest held an even more special place in their hearts. Nelson and Addison knew that while their quests may lead them to faraway places, the greatest adventures were found right at home, in the heart of their beloved forest. The Adventures of Maggie. In a realm beyond our own, there was an enchanted forest, where the trees were taller than skyscrapers, and the flowers glowed in the dark. In this magical forest lived a dog named Maggie. Maggie was a golden retriever with big brown eyes and a wagging tail. She loved to explore the forest and make new friends. One day, while Maggie was playing with a group of rabbits, she heard a loud noise. She looked up and saw a giant dragon flying towards her. Maggie was scared, but she knew she had to protect her friends. She barked at the dragon, but the dragon didn't stop. Maggie knew she had to act fast. She ran towards the dragon and jumped on its back. The dragon was surprised and stopped in midair. Maggie held on tight and started talking to the dragon. She told the dragon that she was a friend, not an enemy. The dragon listened and flew Maggie to his lair. In the dragon's lair, Maggie saw something that shocked her. The dragon was crying. Maggie asked the dragon why he was crying, and the dragon told her that he was lonely. He had no friends and no one to talk to. Maggie felt sorry for the dragon and told him that she would be his friend. The dragon was happy and hugged Maggie. Maggie and the dragon became best friends, and they had many adventures together. One day, while Maggie and the dragon were flying over the enchanted forest, they saw a group of fairies who were in trouble. The fairies were being chased by a wicked witch. Maggie and the dragon knew they had to help the fairies. They flew down and landed in front of the witch. The witch laughed and said that she was going to turn Maggie and the dragon into frogs. Maggie was scared, but she didn't give up. She barked at the witch, and the witch turned into a toad. The fairies were happy, and they thanked Maggie and the dragon for their help. Maggie and the dragon continued their adventures in the enchanted forest. They met many new friends, and they had many exciting experiences. They visited the mermaids in the underwater kingdom, and they had a picnic with the unicorns in the meadow. They even went to the moon and met the moon people. One day, while Maggie and the dragon were exploring a cave, they found a treasure chest. Maggie and the dragon opened the chest, and they found a magic wand. Maggie picked up the wand, and she accidentally turned the dragon into a frog. Maggie was scared, but she knew she had to fix her mistake. She waved the wand, and the dragon turned back into his normal self. Maggie was relieved, and the dragon was happy. Maggie and the dragon continued to have many adventures in the enchanted forest. They learned many new things, and they made many new friends. They even had a party with all their friends in the forest. Maggie was happy, and she knew that she had found a place where she belonged. In the end, Maggie had learned that friendship was the most important thing in the world. She had found a true friend in the dragon, and she had made many new friends in the enchanted forest. Maggie knew that she would always have a place in the enchanted forest, and she would always have friends who loved her. Maggie was happy, and she knew that she had found her home in the charmed forest. A journey with Henry the kangaroo. In a realm beyond our own, lived Henry the kangaroo. Henry was a curious and brave kangaroo, always looking for a new adventure. One day, after a long day of hopping around, Henry decided to explore a new area. Henry hopped into the forest and was amazed by the bright orange sky. He had never seen a sky like this before and was eager to explore further. He hopped around the trees, taking in the scenery and the sounds of the forest. As he hopped around, he stumbled upon a strange-looking tree with a door in it. Henry was curious and decided to investigate. He opened the door and found himself in a strange world. He was surrounded by strange creatures and plants, and he couldn't believe his eyes. He hopped around, exploring the new world and meeting all the strange creatures. He soon realized he was in a magical land. Henry was excited by the new world he had discovered and decided to explore further. He hopped around the magical land, meeting new creatures and learning about the different plants and creatures. He soon found himself in a dark cave, and he was scared, but he was determined to keep going. Henry slowly made his way through the dark cave, feeling his way around. He soon found himself in a large room with a bright light in the middle. He hopped closer to the light and saw that it was a magical crystal. He was mesmerized by the crystal and decided to take it with him. Henry took the crystal and hopped away, determined to find out what it could do. He soon found himself in a clearing, surrounded by strange creatures. He was scared, but he was also excited to find out what the crystal could do. He held the crystal up and it glowed brightly, and suddenly Henry was amazed by the force field and realized that the crystal was protecting him from all the strange creatures. He was now safe and he could explore further. He hopped around the magical land, taking in the sights and sounds. He soon found himself in front of a large castle. Henry was excited to explore the castle and he hopped up to the entrance. He opened the door and found himself in a grand hall. He was amazed by the beauty of the castle and he decided to explore further. He soon found himself in a room filled with treasure. He was overwhelmed by the treasure and decided to take some of it with him. Henry was now ready to head back home. He hopped out of the castle and back into the forest. He was happy to be back in his own world and he was excited to show his friends the treasure he had found. He hopped back home, feeling proud of his adventure. The cat's adventure. In the ruins of an ancient society, a small white cat was exploring the ruins for the first time. The cat was curious and excited to see what secrets the ruins held. As the cat walked around, it noticed a small opening in the wall. The cat cautiously peered inside and saw a strange sight. There was a group of mice huddled together, talking in hushed tones. The cat was intrigued and decided to get closer to the mice. As the cat approached, the mice noticed it and began to panic. One of the mice, a small gray one, stepped forward and said, "What do you want?" "We're just trying to keep ourselves safe here." The cat smiled and replied, "I'm just curious. I've never seen anything like this before." The mouse seemed to relax a bit and said, "We're trying to find a way out of these ruins. We've been stuck here for days and can't find a way out." The cat thought for a moment and then said, "I think I can help you. I know a way out." The mice were overjoyed and the cat led them out of the ruins. Once they were out, the cat explained that it had found a secret passage that led out of the ruins. The mice thanked the cat and said they would never forget its kindness. The cat smiled and said, "It was my pleasure. Now, let's find a place to rest and get something to eat." The mice agreed, and the cat led them to a nearby tree. The cat climbed up the tree and brought down some delicious fruit for the mice to eat. The mice were so happy and thanked the cat again. The cat and the mice enjoyed their meal together, laughing and telling stories. They had become fast friends, and the cat was glad it had been able to help the mice. After they had finished eating, the cat said goodbye to the mice and wished them luck on their journey. The cat then set off on its own adventure, exploring the ruins and discovering new and exciting things. As the cat went further and further, it stumbled upon a strange object. It was a small golden key, and the cat was immediately drawn to it. The cat picked up the key and examined it. It was unlike anything the cat had ever seen before. The cat was curious and decided to take the key with it. The cat continued its journey and eventually came across a door with a keyhole. The cat realized that the key it had found was the perfect size for the keyhole. The cat inserted the key and turned it, and the door opened with a loud creak. The cat stepped inside and was amazed at what it saw. The room was filled with treasure and the walls were decorated with jewels and gold. The cat was overwhelmed and couldn't believe its eyes. Suddenly, the cat heard a noise coming from the other side of the room. It was a group of thieves, and they were trying to steal the treasure. The cat quickly hid behind a pile of gold and watched as the thieves loaded the treasure onto their wagon. The cat knew it had to do something to stop the thieves. It ran up to the wagon and began to meow loudly. The thieves were startled and dropped the treasure. The cat then grabbed the treasure and ran off with it. The thieves chased the cat, but the cat was too fast for them. The cat eventually made it back to the ruins and hid the treasure in a secret spot. The cat smiled, knowing that it had saved the treasure. The cat then went back to the mice and told them what had happened. The mice were so grateful to the cat and thanked it for its bravery. The cat smiled and said, "It was my pleasure. Now, let's go find a safe place to keep the treasure." The cat and the mice searched the ruins until they found a hidden cave. The cat and the mice placed the treasure in the cave and sealed it with a rock. The cat and the mice then went their separate ways, but the cat knew it would always remember its adventure. The cat returned home and told its family about its adventure. The cat's family was amazed and proud of the cat for its bravery. The cat smiled and said, "It was an adventure I'll never forget." The fox and the chase. In the shadows of a forgotten land, there lived a fox named Malik. He was a small fox with a big heart and a big appetite. He spent his days scavenging for food and playing in the tall grass. One day, Malik was out exploring in the woods when he stumbled across a delicious-looking apple. He was so excited that he immediately began to eat it, but before he could finish, he heard a loud noise coming from nearby. Startled, Malik quickly ran away, but he was soon being chased by a pack of angry dogs. He ran as fast as he could, but the dogs were gaining on him. Suddenly, he spotted a large tree. He quickly scrambled up the tree, and the dogs were left barking angrily below. Malik was safe for the moment, but he was still stuck in the tree. He looked around for a way out, but he couldn't find one. Then, he noticed a hole in the trunk of the tree. He quickly crawled inside and was relieved to find that it was the perfect hiding spot. Malik stayed in the tree for the rest of the day until the dogs finally gave up and left. Malik was so relieved that he wanted to celebrate. He decided to go back to the apple tree and finish his meal. When Malik arrived at the apple tree, he was surprised to find that the apples were gone. He was so disappointed. But then he noticed something glimmering in the grass. He quickly dug it up, and it was a beautiful golden coin. Malik was so excited that he quickly ran home to show his family. When he arrived, his family was amazed at his luck. They decided to use the coin to buy a feast for the entire village. Everyone was so happy and grateful for Malik's luck. Malik was proud of himself for being so brave and resourceful. He had faced a difficult challenge and come out victorious. From then on, Malik was known as the fox with the golden coin. He was respected and admired by all the animals in the forest. Malik had proved that no matter how small you are, you can always find a way to succeed. The Lion and the Adventure. In a place where the future is uncertain, Gabriel was an 8-year-old boy who loved to explore and go on adventures. He had heard many stories about the lions of the jungle, but never had the chance to meet one. One day, Gabriel decided to take a journey to find a lion. He packed his bag and set off into the jungle. After a long walk, he finally spotted a lion. It was a beautiful lioness with a golden mane. Her name was Hazel. Gabriel was amazed and slightly scared to see her. He stood there, watching her from a distance. Hazel noticed Gabriel and started to approach him. Gabriel was scared and didn't know what to do. He held his ground and waited for Hazel to come closer. When she was close enough, she started to speak to him. She told him that she was looking for an adventure and asked if he wanted to join her. Gabriel was hesitant at first, but then he thought about all the stories he had heard about lions. He decided to take a chance and join Hazel on her adventure. They started their journey and began to explore the jungle. They had many adventures together. They encountered wild animals, crossed rivers, and even climbed mountains. Gabriel was amazed by all the things they encountered, and Hazel was always there to protect him. After a long journey, they finally reached the end of the jungle. They both looked back at the journey they had taken and were proud of themselves. Gabriel thanked Hazel for all the adventures they had together and said goodbye. Gabriel returned home with a newfound appreciation for the jungle and the animals that inhabit it. He was also thankful for the friendship he had found in Hazel. He knew that, even though their adventure had come to an end, the memories of it would stay with him forever. The Magical Frog and the Little Boy. In a place where time moves differently, a little boy named Josiah found himself in a peculiar situation. He was alone in a strange forest and he was sure he had never been here before. He looked around and saw a small pond with a frog sitting on a lily pad in the middle of it. He was mesmerized by the frog's bright green eyes and the way it stared back at him. Josiah slowly stepped closer to the pond and the frog. He was so close now that he could hear the frog's voice. "Hello there, little one," the frog said. "My name is Mia. What is your name?" Josiah was surprised that the frog could talk. He told her his name and asked her how she knew how to speak. Mia smiled and said, "I am a magical frog. I can do many things that other frogs cannot." Josiah was amazed by this and asked Mia what kind of magical things she could do. Mia told him that she could grant him 3 wishes. Josiah was ecstatic and immediately started thinking of what he wanted to wish for. He thought for a few minutes and then finally decided on his 3 wishes. He wished for a magical toy that would never break, a never-ending supply of candy, and a way to make his parents proud. Mia smiled and said, "Your wishes are granted. Now go and enjoy your gifts." Josiah thanked Mia and ran off to explore his gifts. He was amazed by the magical toy that never broke and the never-ending supply of candy. He was also very proud that he had made his parents proud. The next day, Josiah returned to the pond to thank Mia for her gifts. But when he arrived, he saw that Mia was gone. He was sad that she had left, but he was also happy that he had been able to make such wonderful memories with her. He thanked her in his heart and said goodbye. As he walked away, he heard a faint voice say, "Goodbye, Josiah. You will always be my special friend." Josiah smiled and continued on his way, knowing that he would never forget his magical friend Mia the frog.